Part of what we try to do on From the Ground Up is introduce many of y'all to new varieties of plants. And one of the ones I'd like to show you today is Hosta. It's a plant that's generally used more in the northern part of the country, but it's finding wide acceptance in the south. We get asked millions of questions as far as what blooms in the shade in the summer. And one of the best things to choose would be the Hosta. For the most part, even when they're not in bloom, it's an attractive plant. When they are in bloom, it's sort of like the icing on the cake. Remember to plant your Hosta in the shade. Now the one I have on my left is a nice plant that is shade grown, and you can see the dark green color to it. The one on my right is a little lighter green, and it's got some brown flecks in it. And the brown flecks, for the most part, are caused by too much sun. It's much as if you and I were to go out in the sun and get a sunburn. Another nice thing about the Hosta is that they're very easy to propagate. If you've got a big full plant like this, and let's say, for example, that's growing in the ground, in the fall, around October or November, as the foliage starts to die, that's the time to dig it up and divide it. A clump like this will have about 4 or 5 individual plants. When you do plant your Hosta, make sure that you plant the divisions about a foot apart, and you put 1 tablespoon of superphosphate in the hole at time of planting. Fertilize in the spring and summer, and when you do, give each plant about 1 full teaspoon of Graco 1366. Unfortunately, with the Hosta, you're going to need to write the names down because there are no common names for the individual varieties. This one is variegata, and as you can see, the flower spike itself is only about 15 inches tall. Oreo marginata has a spike that's about 2 feet tall and has good variegated color to the leaves. Groundmaster is just that. The flower is about 2 inches across and 2 inches tall. Wide brim is an early bloomer. What you want to do is make sure that you pinch the old dead flowers off after they're finished, so that the plant doesn't expend all its energy in producing seed, and it'll spend a little bit more energy in producing a nice full plant. For the most part, Hosta are carefree. Occasionally you will get a caterpillar that comes through and takes some good healthy chunks out of a leaf. The proper control for caterpillars is Fertilome's dipel dust. It's in a shaker can, and all you'll need to do is dust the plant very lightly. Another great thing about dipel is it's an organic pesticide, and you can safely use it in the vegetable garden. We were lucky enough to find the gold drop all in bloom at one time. So when your Hosta bed is in bloom, you can expect it to look much like this. And even when they're finished blooming, the ground cover beds will look super. For From the Ground Up, this is Ralph Esposito.